Hello and welcome to International Trade Talk. Just hours ago, the world did not just witness a post-conflict, it witnessed a shift in power. And the most powerful military in the world, led by the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is just getting back from their warning to Iran. A deadline, a threat, a promise of destruction, and then it blinked. Not behind the closed doors, not through secret diplomacy, but publicly in a statement that changed everything. So, because instead of launching a strike, Trump acknowledged Iran's 10-point proposal and called it a workable basis for peace. Let us sink in that. The same proposal Washington had dismissed on the basis of calling it a maximalist was now foundation for the negotiation between the two states. This wasn't just a policy, it was a narrative collapse. Let's rewind. Weeks earlier, the region was on fire following coordinated pressure and military escalation. And one location became the center of a global tension, the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway, but one that carries nearly 20% of the world's oil. If it shuts down, the world feels it instantly. Energy markets spike, supply chains break, and economies tremble. The United States of America responded with a forceful demands. They brought in front a 15-point framework, dismantle nuclear capabilities, restrict missile program Iran was previously working on, reopen the Strait of Hormuz. In return, sanctions relief from American side. What was Iran's answer was probably wondering. Iran directly said no, not a counter offer, not even a negotiation, just straight no. Instead, Tehran produced and introduced its own 10 points agenda and 10 points negotiation plan, clear, structured, and unchanged. Recognition of uranium enrichment, which was the basic point, full sanctions removal, regional non-aggression guarantees, withdrawal of the American troops from the Middle East, war compensation, and most critically, the basic point I think is the control and coordination over the Strait of Hormuz, that Iran now came to understand that it is one of the most powerful weapons with them. Washington called it unrealistic. Iran did not change the word. This is where the strategy begins. And because while Washington and the clock is ticking and Washington is posing its threats towards Iran, Iran did something else. It waited. No panic, no revision, just patience and positioning. Then came the deadline, 8 p.m. Framed with obsolete uncertainty language that suggested the total destruction. But just hours before the impact, the call came from Shehbaz Sharif, Prime Minister of Pakistan, and Pakistan's military leadership requesting a pause and strike stopped. How did strike stop? There are a lot of questions, but the main concern we have here is to think about that a deadline built on the language of inevitability, dissolved with just one phone call. That was receipt number one. Now, what was the receipt number two? In the same statement, Donald Trump confirmed Iran's 10-point agenda and plan. It is now would be the basis for a negotiation between the two countries to bring down the escalation between them. The exact framework was rejected and now it is being accepted, and then came a receipt number three, control. Iran announced that the ship's movement will be through the Strait of Hormuz, being told but under coordination with its own forces, and not a free passage, a coordinated passage with reports of multi-million-dollar toll per vessel. Now America was in wonder. a choke point of global trade, and now functioning under a structured authority. There is no longer a geopolitics. There is a leverage for Iran that it may be the future leverage for Iran. Iran can use it in future wars, in conflicts, and to stabilize its own economy. Iran didn't just negotiate terms, it shaped the battlefield of negotiations itself. And it did not do it alone. Behind the scenes, China played an influential role, and Russia contributed to the diplomatic architecture of this scenario. And Pakistan, on the other hand, became the bridge between the two countries. The room where this deal took shape was not controlled by Washington. That silence was loud. Iran moved fast. Its Supreme National Security Council issued an official statement declaring victory. Yeah, they absolutely declared victory, but claiming that the United States had accepted its framework, which actually is a victory for Iran. And here is the critical point. Nothing in Trump's statement directly contradicted that claim. This is how modern power works, not just through force, but through framing, through timing, through perception. The world is basically not working with perception, just like the prices and inflation, totally controlled by the perception of a person. Because if you set a deadline and then step back from it, every observer learns something from it. And I mean, people get to know that limits exist, and Iran proved it. Iran already proved it, not by matching forces with force, but by exposing the ceiling of that force. Now the consequences begin. For the global shipping, the Strait of Hormuz is not just a road, it is a controlling corridor. For Gulf nations, its security assumptions are shifting, and because of its framework, frameworks can flip this quickly, so can alliances. The alliances can be flipped quickly, and for the coming days and for the world, this moment sends a message. Power is no longer singular, it is distributed between the people and between countries and between the states, and negotiated, and it is contested. So what will happen? The question here is three parts. I think there will be three things that may happen in the future and in the coming days. One would be the managed reset talks. If talks between these countries succeed, both sides claims victory, and a long-term deal emerges from this framework. And the second is the regional realignment. Countries being leaning toward alternative powers, sectors like China and Russia, and new alliances will form quietly at first, and then permanently maybe they will start raiding it again. So, and the third thing I think is the collapse. Now what kind of collapse? Because despite the pause, tensions remain. Missiles, drones and warnings haven't disappeared. Just after the ceasefire, we can see there were things that have been happened. Fatal things. This ceasefire could be a bridge or just a break before escalation. So now, the question is no longer what happened. It's what it means. Did Donald Trump showed strategic flexibility, or whether it will show strategic flexibility, or did maximum pressure hit its limit in this diplomacy, or delay, or it will delay? But because one thing is certain, the balance of power didn't just shift quietly, it shifted in public, in the mainstream media, and the world is still catching up. And our role as a Pakistani, we are happy for our role, and Pakistan as a mediator is trying to keep its alliances and to keep its diplomacy on the main term. Pakistan is on the main tagline and social mainstream media for its diplomatic services to the world, bringing to hostilities to hostile nations, those which are in fight between one another. They are bringing into the peace talk. So we hope these peace talks would bring a good fortune to both of the countries, to the Asia, to the Middle East, and to our country own. So these were the things I wanted to discuss in today's video. I would like you to catch up in the next video. So for for that time, I would like you to say goodbye to me and goodbye to you all. Thank you so much for watching video. I would request you to if you like the video, I would like you to subscribe and like and share it. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.